In 2012, the world was shocked when Amelia Warren, the glamorous heiress to a billion-dollar empire, vanished without a trace. Beautiful, intelligent, and living the life that many could only dream of, Amelia seemed to have it all. But behind the lavish lifestyle and sparkling gala events, there was a hidden world of betrayal, corruption, and secrets. Amelia's disappearance would unravel a twisted tale that no one could have predicted, a story of power, revenge, and the shocking lengths one daughter would go to expose the truth behind her family's empire. But what if the truth wasn't what it seemed? What if Amelia wasn't lost, but had orchestrated her own escape to reveal a dark secret that could destroy everything her father built? If you want to hear the full story of Amelia's fight for justice and many more mind-bending true crime tales, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out on the truth that's hiding in plain sight. Subscribe now and join the journey. Amelia Warren was everything one could imagine in an heiress. Beautiful, intelligent, and poised for a future full of power and luxury. Her father, Thomas Warren, had built his fortune from scratch, becoming a self-made billionaire with a ruthless business mind. He had everything a person could ever want: wealth, influence, and respect. But there was one thing he could never control: his daughter. Amelia had always been different from her father. While Thomas ruled the business world with an iron fist, Amelia had a free spirit. She wasn't interested in the power games or the cold corporate world her father inhabited. Instead, she spent her days attending high-profile charity galas, traveling the globe, and living the life of a socialite. But despite the outward glamour, Amelia was growing increasingly dissatisfied. She felt trapped, caught in a gilded cage of wealth and expectations. Amelia confided in her close friends about her growing unease. She spoke of her longing for freedom and independence, a desire to escape from the tight control her father had over her life. And then, in a moment of vulnerability, she revealed something shocking. She was planning to leave. She wanted to disappear, cut ties with her family, and start a life of her own, far from the shadow of her father's empire. One chilly November evening, everything changed. Amelia attended a gala hosted by one of her family's business partners. The event was grand, filled with the wealthiest people in the city. But something was off. Amelia wasn't herself. She seemed distant, distracted, and withdrawn. Her friends noticed, but thought little of it at the time. Later that night, Amelia left the gala early, citing exhaustion. She quietly slipped away, and as her car arrived at the mansion, she called home. No one was there to greet her. The security cameras didn't show anything unusual, and her parents, who were away on business, didn't think much of it at first. The next morning, Amelia was gone. Her bedroom was untouched, and her belongings were left behind. Her phone, her purse, everything. There were no signs of struggle, no note, and nothing seemed out of place. The mansion's security system hadn't been tampered with, making her disappearance even more baffling. It was as if Amelia had simply vanished into thin air. The police launched an investigation, but no evidence turned up. Days turned into weeks, and the search for Amelia stretched across the country, but there were no leads. The heiress to a billion-dollar fortune had disappeared without a trace, and no one could explain why. The disappearance of Amelia Warren made headlines around the world. The police began a full-scale investigation, but as weeks went by with no new leads, suspicions started to grow. Was Amelia kidnapped, or had she simply run away? Or more chillingly, was there someone who wanted her gone permanently? At first, Thomas Warren maintained a public front of calm, insisting that his daughter had likely run off to escape the pressures of her life. He seemed confident that she would return, but as time passed, something didn't add up. There was no sign of her at all. Then a breakthrough came when Sophie, Amelia's closest friend, came forward with shocking new information. Sophie revealed that Amelia had been planning something. She had mentioned a mysterious man, someone she had recently met, a man who wasn't from the same social circles as her usual friends. Amelia had been excited about him, but refused to reveal his identity. This revelation raised more questions than answers, but it was a clue. Police began digging into Amelia's personal life, trying to uncover anything that might explain her disappearance. Days later, a new lead emerged, a mysterious email that Amelia had sent to her lawyer just days before her disappearance. In the email, Amelia stated her intentions to leave her family's fortune behind and start fresh. But what she didn't realize was that her email had been sent to the wrong person. Instead of being sent to her lawyer, the email ended up in the hands of Peter Graves, the Warren family's trusted financial advisor. Peter Graves was a man of few words, but he had been with the Warren family for years. He knew everything about their business dealings and had become an integral part of their empire. However, what wasn't known at the time was that Graves had a hidden agenda. Over the years, he had quietly amassed his own fortune through shady dealings, and he wasn't about to let Amelia's revelation jeopardize everything he had worked for. As the investigation continued, the police uncovered a hidden storage unit leased under Amelia's name. There was no record of her ever visiting it, and its location seemed completely out of place. Inside, they found a treasure trove of clues, maps, journals, and a set of carefully organized documents. These documents revealed a shocking truth. Amelia had been planning to leave her family not just for freedom, but for revenge. Amelia's plan was meticulously laid out. She intended to expose her father's corrupt business dealings, everything that had been hidden behind the Warren family's wealth and success. She had gathered evidence that would have destroyed everything her father had built. Among the papers was Peter Graves' name. He was involved in every step of her plan. But what the investigators didn't know was that Graves had been meeting with a mysterious figure in the days leading up to Amelia's disappearance. A man who was never identified, and it became clear that Peter Graves had the most to lose if Amelia followed through on her plan. As the investigation neared its peak, a final twist in the case came to light. Peter Graves, desperate to protect his secret, had orchestrated Amelia's disappearance. He had staged it to look like a voluntary escape, hoping to cover up the evidence of his own wrongdoings. But there was one thing Graves hadn't counted on: Amelia's determination. She had known the risks. She had uncovered enough to take down her family's empire, but she had also underestimated the lengths to which Peter Graves would go to protect himself. In the end, Amelia's disappearance was revealed to be no accident. She had staged her own death in order to disappear completely, to escape the dangers of her past and expose the lies that had built her family's fortune. And Peter Graves was arrested for his role in orchestrating the entire thing. Amelia, though, was still alive. She had vanished, living in hiding, far from the dangers that had plagued her. She had left behind her life of wealth and privilege to protect herself and expose the truth. Her disappearance, once shrouded in mystery, had finally been unraveled, revealing a tale of corruption, betrayal, and the lengths one would go to in order to protect a secret. The heiress who had everything had disappeared to protect herself and to destroy the empire that her father had built on lies. And though the investigation had come to a close, the haunting question remained: how far would people go to hide the truth, and how far would a daughter go to seek justice?